Welcome back, everybody, to another One Up XP Show podcast. I am Flake of Wrath, and today we have a really special guest. I may have just met the man, but let me tell you, this dude is awesome. They call him Coach Rob. He's at the Siena Heights University, the Saints. I believe it's the Saints. If I'm wrong, he'll let me know right off the hop. But we are bringing in Coach Rob, Stephen Robinson Jr. How you doing, man? Thanks for joining me. I appreciate it.
What's up, brother?
Thank you, man, for appreciating. It's the Saints, right? I'm not like fogging already, am I?
No, it is.
Right,
it is.
cool.
It is.
I didn't want to ruin our friendship already with just giving you the wrong mascot.
That'd be early. Yeah, that'd be a record for sure.
It would be, right? 5 seconds of the podcast, I'm out.
Yeah.
But yeah, we have you here. You are new to, well, not even new to Siena Heights because you went to school there. You played football there, and then you graduated, went back to Indiana for a little bit, but you're new to the esports director job. You got this past July.
Collegiately,
yeah. Correct, yes, because we'll get to the achievements that you've had back in Indiana in your home. But first of all, give me some background in your gaming, brother, and your athletics. You're an athletic gamer, kind of like I am, but let's hear about Stephen Robinson Jr. and how you got to where you're at.
For sure, man. So you kind of hit the nail on the head as far as being at Siena Heights back in 2011.
Okay,
that's honestly like every kid grew up playing video games to an extent. We all played.
Oh yeah,
Mario Kart, 007, all those games.
Oh,
but then
GoldenEye.
When I got yeah.
You're taking me back there, man.
Hey, Gran Turismo was the joint back in the day.
Oh yeah, PS3, PS2.
Here we go.
PS2, yeah.
Here we go. Yeah. But so yeah, I came to Siena on like I said, a football scholarship, and it was probably in my sophomore year. One of my best buddies, he had got me into League of Legends one day.
Oh really?
Off the top, I was like, dude, this looks stupid.
Right?
This game looks absolutely trash.
I've been in that boat. Boat, man.
Yep. Probably, what was that? 2012. 9 years later, like 300 hours later of playing the game, I'm still playing the game. So that was the game that shook me and kind of put me into the PC gaming world. Because I was always a console player. So now here we are on PC gaming. Spent I don't know how much money on computer parts and building.
Yep.
And, it's a rabbit hole, man. And my wife she doesn't get upset, but she's like, you don't have a lot of hobbies, but the hobbies you have are super expensive.
Exactly, dude. I grew up playing hockey, and it's like my parents instantly got, you have like the most expensive sport. I was like, it's not my fault. I just enjoy it, man. I love it.
I don't pick what I love initially. It just kind of falls into my lap.
And then I play golf now, and then I also have, gaming PCs behind me. Yeah, I choose the expensive stuff, unfortunately, just like yourself.
That's golf is a different beast. Right?
So let's talk a little bit about your athletic background. So you said you came to Siena on a football scholarship, correct? I did. So let's talk some football. Obviously, you coming up out of high school, you're from Indiana,
right?
Correct, and that's where you played high school football.
I did. I played at Elkhart Central, which is now Elkhart High. We had two high schools in Elkhart. They were merged in like the 70s. They split,
right,
and then they actually merged them back together last year. So now we're back at one high school.
Got you. And that's where your old stomping grounds. That's where you laid, you scoring some touchdowns. Some I'm sure it was in the hundreds, breaking some records.
A little something, man.
But then you went to Siena, and then you graduated. What'd you get your degree in there at Siena?
I actually, bro. So I get there, right? I get to Siena my first year.
Yep.
And I'm like, I'm gonna be a teacher, because let's be honest, there's not a lot of teachers that look like me. I was like, I'm gonna be a teacher.
Yeah.
Literally first class, and I remember the Professor Sally Ray. She is still here. First class for education, first day of class.
Yeah.
She gives us the syllabus, and we have a project due the very next class, which will probably take like 8 hours. I said, this is stupid. I'm not doing it. And I got my degree in English instead, so creative writing.
Nice.
That's
not an easy task either, brother.
It's not, but I enjoyed it, man. It was super fun. Met some amazing people, so it worked out.
And how'd the college football career go?
It went pretty well.
Good.
It went pretty well. Played a couple years. That first year I came to Siena Heights, that was actually the first year that we had a football program.
Right. Okay.
So I was a part of that. I was a part of that first program here, that first year in the recruiting class. So that was fun. Kind of getting the lay of the land, and actually being from Indiana and coming here to Michigan, there were a lot of players that I played against in Indiana that actually came too.
Oh, that's cool.
So, you know, we didn't miss out on those relationships a lot. So that was nice as well.
What positions you play? I never asked you that.
I played receiver, man. You can't tell with the camera, but I'm only 5'8". So
you're only 5'8"?
See
get out. I thought you were at least like 6'2". I'm not gonna lie.
Yo, look, I'm gonna be honest.
I'm 5'8" too.
I'm gonna be 100 with you, man. If I was 6'2", I would not be here, brother.
D1 forever?
Something.
So you guys are what? NAIA?
We're NAIA. Yeah.
Okay.
So we're in the mid conference or mid states.
Gotcha.
Athletic conference. Yeah.
Yeah, I had a lot of friends that I played baseball and hockey in college. We were D3. Right. There's no D2 hockey, so there's D1 and D3. Yeah. But for baseball, there's D3. A lot of my baseball buddies came from NAIA because it's usually 2-year JUCOs, you know. So they would come over and finish up at D3. So we got a little background on yourself. I can't leave out the wife and kids. You know, maybe the pant wear in the relationship, I'm sure. You know, your wife.
100%.
Yeah. I mean, I just wanted to lay that out there because, I mean, I'm in the same boat. I mean, everybody's in the same boat. They run the ship. If you would have said
it, I would have said it.
So, you guys are now moved up to Michigan, which
No.
You're still in Indiana?
Bro, I commute every day.
Get out. You commute from Elkhart?
2 hours, bro. 2 hours there and back every day.
Dude, that is commitment. I did not know that. Bro.
But the crazy thing, right? So during the whole interview process before I got the job,
right?
Obviously, like I said, and we kind of talked about it. Every interview that I had, it was with somebody that I already knew that was here when I was here. So it was super easy.
Right.
So when I didn't, it sounds bad, but when I didn't get the job like right away, they waited a couple weeks. Right. I was kind of like, why do I not have the job yet? Type of thing. And I got a call from Sue, the AD, and she was like, hey, we kind of have some questions on, you know, a commute. Like, are you going to be able to do it every day? And I'm like, no. Yes, I'm going to be able to do it every day. So, you know, they had some concerns on it, and I get it, you know, for more of the safety part being in Michigan. Right. You know, the winter times are crazy, but I told them, man, we're planning to move a little bit closer into the Sturgis area.
Oh, yep.
Which puts me at an hour instead of the 2 hour range, which is super doable.
That's not bad at all. And to be totally fair, where I am compared to where you are, you guys don't get snow compared to us, but I get it. I get it. It's downstate, and they do get some storms. So, but
not like you though.
No. We get the whole lake effect thing. That's a little different.
I don't want that. See, I can't be too close to lakes because you know I can't swim. So I'm not trying to.
We can teach you, brother.
It's too late for that. Look, people say that it's too late.
It's too late. It's not too late. We can get you. I'll take you fishing too.
I can fish, but after you hit 25, I'm not getting in the water.
Okay, Siena Heights is in Adrian, which is downstate. I have been to Adrian. I played Adrian in hockey in college, which that was a 9-hour trip of craziness. We went down through Wisconsin and over, but so you commute 2 hours. But let's talk about your achievements. All right. So we go back to after you graduated. You taught at Elkhart, but not only taught, you also coached, and then you also had the esports program, or you set up the esports program there, right?
Yeah. So when you say it like that, it sounds like I was doing a whole bunch of stuff.
Dude, you were doing, are you kidding me? That's crazy, dude. You're teaching, bro. You're coaching, and you set up an esports program. And let's not forget, you also commute 2 hours one way to do what you're doing now, brother. You're selling yourself short.
It's all the same thing, bro. It's literally all the same thing.
It is not all the same thing.
Of course it is. Okay, so look, check me out. From a base level, it's all the same thing, which is being a steward, like being a good steward. It's the same thing.
I understand that, but you're taking a lot of time, brother. You're doing good in many ways, and it's a lot of time. So, I mean,
if you say so.
Pump yourself up here a little bit here, because you were also a coach, you were a teacher, and you did the high school esports there for Elkhart. So give us some background on all that stuff, and including the esports program that you set up there.
Yeah. So as I kind of said, initially was going to come here for teaching.
Right.
Didn't do that. Did the English thing instead. Went back to Elkhart. And the football head coach at the time was my head coach there. You know, he was like, "Hey man, Steve, you wanna be the receivers coach here?" I was like, "Man, of course." I always envisioned myself going back
Right.
to Indiana. You know, kind of helping the next generation type thing. Did that for 6 years or 5 years actually. I couldn't finish this year coming up,
Right,
because of the commitment here now. But did that for 5 years. Had a bunch of great relationships, had a bunch of great players that I was able to coach and mentor, kind of make it to the next level and do some stuff.
that's awesome.
Was able to teach at the elementary level. I was a sped teacher for 2 years.
Right.
That is that's a different realm. There's like teaching,
Yeah,
and then there's sped teaching. Like that's different. I feel like
it's very different. There's a lot more commitment to it.
Yeah. It's I think the relationship building piece is harder for the simple fact that some of the kids that you interact with don't understand that piece as well.
Right.
So they know that there's a relationship there. They just don't know how to navigate it properly. So, you know, and even at elementary level, like they're trying to figure out who they are still. So they don't have time to figure out who you are. They don't know who they are yet.
Correct.
So,
yeah,
you know, it was interesting. In, you know, the education system, that's a whole nother thing we could talk about for hours.
I think you can talk about that anywhere you go, you know?
Yeah. But, you know, the education system, to be quite honest, like, is trash right now. Like, it's bad.
I hear that.
You know, and you see these things, and I seen a post on Facebook the other day, and this is why social media is undefeated. I seen a Facebook post the other day, and it was basically a snippet of images of two adults, or an adult and a kid arguing. Adult was telling them like important facts of like the Civil War and stuff, and the kid is telling them they just want to learn how to balance their checkbook. Like,
that's exactly,
like do their taxes, you know, like
exactly 100% correct. Yeah,
like stuff the kids actually need. And like, dude, I can be honest. I am 28. I have not one time since I graduated high school used the Pythagorean theorem. Not one time.
Right. You're right.
Like, it's useless, bro. You're not going to do that when you're trying to get a mortgage, or when you're trying to sign up your kid for scholarships for college. It's just,
your everyday life is not going to need that. Yeah. No, I get
it. Yeah. You know, and that's the thing we talk about later. But, you know, it was fun. Education was fun.
Yeah. But the Elkhart High Elite Esports Program, let's talk about that. Let's get into the meat and potatoes, if you will.
Yeah. So that was my baby. That was my baby. Right,
you brought that up from the ground.
Yeah, man. So and we talked about it a little bit, going back to education and just people in general. Like, they don't know what esports is.
No,
they didn't know what it was 3 years ago. A lot of people still don't know what it is now.
Correct.
So when I approached, and actually the reason why I did it at the high school level is because Siena Heights and other universities were getting it.
Mm-hmm.
So as they were doing all this research, I kind of started doing research on my own, looked at the return on investment aspect of it. And sounds awful, but schools are a business. So they're looking to get kids to graduate, which gives them more money from the state, which gives them more funding and more exposure, and they get all the other stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, man, well, how can we get kids into the building and keep them in the building? Because we're both adults, dude. We play video games just as much as some of these kids.
It's true.
You know, so like that was a project that I had come up with. Thank God, one of the assistant principals there, I knew him really well, so he wanted to help me out.
Good.
Didn't have any funding like from the school district. They had, again, like I said, they had no idea what it was, so they're not going to fund a project. They have no idea what it means. They're not going to take that leap of faith type of thing.
Right.
Luckily, I grew up with a family friend that they were pretty well off. They're pretty well off. So mom decided to take a chance. She was like, "Hey, Stevie, here, I can give you 20 racks. Do what you got to do and kind of make it shake."
That's awesome.
Yeah, man. So we started it up from scratch, bro. And that is a lot. I think doing that program at the high school level, and suffering isn't the word, but struggling, I think it's better for those 3 years, just to get funding, to get exposure, like to do all the work behind the scenes by myself. I think that gives me a leg up now where I'm at collegiately, because I did a lot of stuff that a lot of these directors and programs at the college level, they don't even have to think about doing. So I think that it kind of gives me a way in for some of these players and just some of these things that we're working on here at Siena.
Oh yeah, I guarantee you that gives you kind of more that, you know, it's kind of like that lifelong lesson where when you first do something, like you build it from the ground up, you know the struggles, you know what goes into doing it, and then when you go to somewhere else, you're kind of gifted with the fact that you know the struggles, but you don't have to go through the struggles. But if you had to, you know where to start. You know what it is. So I mean,
that
it's
appreciation factor.
Exactly. When you do it by yourself and build it up, and then it's there, and you leave to go somewhere else, you know, to further your career or, you know, build someone else's program up, it's there and you know what to do, but you don't have to start from scratch. So you don't have to focus on that right away, which is great. So yeah, that's awesome, dude. I'm super stoked for you, super happy for you. And you know the struggles and building blocks, but now you're gifted something that, you know, you don't have to necessarily struggle with right off the hop, which is awesome.
For sure.
So some of the games you guys are focusing on there in Siena, now that you're there, FIFA, Hearthstone, League of Legends, Madden, Overwatch, Rocket League, Super Smash, and I'm assuming anybody that comes in and be like, hey, I'm a Fortnite player, would you mind having a Fortnite team? I'm sure you'd be able to sit down and say, yeah, we can work with you.
Yeah, man, we could do that. And that's the thing, like the biggest thing for esports, for me and my philosophy, man, is inclusion, right? So I want to get as many kids from as many different backgrounds, ethnicities, cultures, whatever. Like, this is their opportunity to not be introverts and to find something that they're good and passionate about.
Amen, brother. Amen.
So who would I be to deny them that opportunity, right? I'd be scum. So, you know, of course, always, man.
And I every sports program that I've talked to so far, esports program, and even people outside the esports programs that I've talked to say the exact same thing. I mean, in fact, yesterday I sat down with Caitlin Roos from Michigan Tech, and it's exactly the same thing. You know, we're looking to get kids that might not have that social butterfly effect, and even the kids that have the social butterfly effect, because they're not usually going to run into each other on a normal day basis, or these kids that are not going to be friends, you know, at school per se, but when you get them in something that they share a common passion for, it's like, hey, yeah, exactly. And that's what I love about esports and video games in general. There's so many lifelong friends that you might not consider befriending before you got into video games, you know? And I think that's,
I mean, prime example, let's keep it a stack, man. If I was not in esports and you weren't like the realm that you were in, I would never know you.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no.
Like,
exactly.
I wouldn't be on Twitter looking for Flake.
No.
Who's the weatherman? Like, no, I'm looking for Flake. For
exactly what it is, you know? The only way our paths may have met is if we went to school together and we might have seen each other at a sporting event. The only way. But other than that, now video games kind of, you know, bring a different passion. Yeah, perfect for it. So let's talk about some goals before we get to the questions and a little bit more about Siena and esports. Let's talk about your goals. You're taking over a program. This is your first year. Nitty gritty. What are the goals, man, for this year and for the long term?
So, and I think this was part of me growing up and being the English major that I am.
Yeah,
I always want to write stuff down. So
right.
I'm like super into writing stuff down. So like this, I have this journal right here.
Oh, there you go. Number one way to do it.
Dude, so this is my baby right here. This is how I started the esports program at Elkhart.
That's awesome.
This is how I did a bunch of other different things. This is how I got everything set up and ready to go when I applied here. Like, I got, the only thing not in there is probably my social security card. Got all my ideas in there.
Coach Rob's blueprints, literally.
My blueprint. You know, I'm gonna sell that to my daughter when she's 21. I'm gonna make her pay for it. But no, you know, I think it's important to write stuff down, because when you're able to write it down, it becomes ingrained in your memory type of thing. Because a lot of times you come up with this eureka idea and then you forget about it later because your mind is going 100 times a minute. Type of thing.
Exactly.
So, you know, for me, and I'll always be transparent and honest, like, and I'll tell this to anybody. Like, Siena Heights has been an awful esports program since it started.
Mm-hmm.
Like, period. Like, it has underperformed tremendously based on what it had value-wise when it started. Right? Like, for a university and an entity to pour so much money in and not get any results is disheartening. And it's I mean, it's a slap in the face to the craft and to people who are trying to do it the right way.
Correct. Yeah, I hear that.
You know, so for me, like goals are based on our students and how they evolve and change, right? So a big thing for me, there was this wall behind me. We used to have a bulletin board on it, and the first thing I did when I came in is I tore the bulletin board down. And the reason why is because this wall behind me is going to be our academic All-American wall now. Right? So
that boy.
Our esports program had one of the one of the bottom 5 GPAs last year at like 2.89.
Ooh, okay.
Exactly.
Let's say ooh.
The GPA requirement to get into Sienna is 2.5. Oh. So we're sitting at the minimum just to be here, you know? So I had a meeting with players right away as soon as I got hired. And the first thing I told them was, you're a student athlete first. You're not an athlete student.
Amen.
So our GPA requirement for our program, and like I said, I can care less what the NAIA or the WAC conference thinks. Like they had theirs at 2.5. Dude, our GPA here in our room is 3.2. Like that's what we're looking at, right? Because at the end of the day, it does multiple things, right? It makes you a better all-rounded player and student because you're able to take care of business in the classroom.
Yep.
And number 2, and more importantly, you get scholarships for doing great things academically at university, right? They're gonna keep paying you to do that.
Correct.
So it's setting you up for success in your parents to have some money in their pocket at the end of the day.
Correct.
You know, aside from those things, obviously, the WAC, the WHAC is now affiliated with esports. So we're going to be competing in the Big 3 league, awesome. Overwatch and Rocket League.
Nice.
For those, you know, starting this year. So this first year will be a little different. It'll be kind of rough. But the plan is within these first 2 years to be top in one of those 3 titles.
That boy.
Overwatch will be hard with teams like Lords who have some top tier players. Rocket League will be a little different with teams like Aquinas and whatnot. But I think League is going to be wide open. So that's the one we're going to try to take here in the next year or 2.
Nice. I like it. Yeah. And that's the goal, right? And with esports at a high school level or collegiate level, right. We want these young adults to have responsibility, but at the same time do what they love to do. You're a student first, you know, get that scholarship, get school taken care of. Because I can tell you right now, paying for school after the fact, you don't want to do it.
You don't want to do it.
You don't want to do it. So get the ability to full ride if you can. Play some esports, play some video games, be really good at it. And you know what? You might ride off into pro status after school. Ride that until you die, and then you have a degree behind you in whatever you want that you can fall back on. And that's the goal.
Yeah, man, exactly. And we talked about it, and this is off on a little tangent. We can get into it more, but we talked about it before we started. You know, there are players that are 16, 17 years old, and their first thought, which isn't necessarily a bad thought. I'm not saying it's a bad thought, but their only thought is, I'm going pro.
Right.
That's fantastic. You know, if you go pro, man, God bless you. That's fantastic. What happens if you don't?
Right. What happens in 2 years when Fortnite changes meta and you can't be the pro that you used to be?
Exactly.
Or, gaming, you might have slower reactions and you're just not the pro you used to be anymore. Maybe you just want to stop gaming or be a pro. Yeah. You just want to play casually. Guess what? Exactly. You don't have a degree to fall back on.
Yep. Now you're knocking on doors trying to get in because you're 3 years removed from high school and you have no idea what you want to do.
Exactly. And that's why we need and we're seeing it here in Michigan now. High schools starting to get some of the esports program, kind of building that in, as well as colleges really starting into the esports programs, which you gotta. I just want to push it. You gotta get it. Get the school done with the esports, then look at becoming pro. I understand it might not be ideal, but guess what? You have something to fall back on. People don't want to game in the basement all the time.
Right. And in the grand scheme of it, dude, if you're one of those top tier players like that has that potential to do it, they're gonna find you regardless if you're at home in the basement or if you're at a university.
Correct.
They're gonna find you regardless. It doesn't matter. They're gonna find you.
Yeah.
So what is like there can't be anything that I can possibly think of that is wrong with you getting school paid for.
Correct.
To play the game that you love and establish your brand for when you go pro. Like there's no downside to it whatsoever.
Right. Exactly. All right. So now we're into the questions. Meat and potatoes. All right. We got some of these questions here, and I drew up some hard-hitting questions here for Coach Rob. The first one, with the ever-growing landscape of high school and college esports, okay, how are you looking to use your background to put Sienna on the map? Whether it be coaching background, whether it be Just you being an amazing human being background, whatever it is, what are you using to do it to move the Sienna program forward and put it on the map?
For sure. So for me specifically, I think something that will help and something that I've seen even in the last month that has worked really well is being able to kind of meet those students where they are.
Right.
So again, we talked about it. Like some of them are introverted.
Right.
Some of them are not social butterflies that you will find at parties and at the movies every Friday. Like they're going to be at their house. They're not going to leave. They're not going to want to talk to anybody except close friends and family.
Yep.
How do we interact with those kids? How do we find common ground and get involved with them with their interests or their passions? And how can we kind of navigate those conversations? So like for me, I love talking to people. Dude.
Oh yeah.
I love
That's you just learn so much, man.
Yeah.
And then you find out you have so much in common, or you find out you might know some people in common, whatever it is. Exactly. There's always something there that you can tap into.
Exactly, dude. And that's communication is a skill.
Oh yeah.
Like it's not like that is a very important skill that kids, they'll find out if they don't already, that is super important. That's how you network. That's how you communicate with people. That's how you grow your brand and as a person in general.
Right.
So being able to, like I said, meet them where they are and kind of get a feel for what they're passionate about, I think is important. And I think what comes into play, not with all programs, but I think some programs like outside of our region, outside the Midwest, I think like on the East Coast and West Coast, like those UC Irvines, like maybe, and I'm not throwing shade at anybody, I just think like when you have a program like that is a little more established and that is a bigger student body population,
correct,
you don't necessarily look at the person so much. You more so look at what their rank is.
Right.
Like you more so look at the business side. Okay, like can they help me win a championship? Okay, correct. Perfect. Sign them. Like you don't worry about, can I help them advance themselves?
Right.
Okay, let me sign them, or let me figure out how I can.
Right. And that's where it becomes more of a business than, an education to business. Like, exactly. I mean, you're still educating these young human beings and then push them off into the business side of it. And, like we talked before, you have something to fall back on. You live life. College is life. 4 years of your life that is going to be something you don't get again, which everyone should experience. Granted, get there with a good background in scholarships because you don't want to pay for it after the fact.
Exactly.
But
that's an expensive 4-year ride.
Exactly. But I would tell you the 4 years that I played in baseball and hockey was just, granted, we weren't the best team by any means, but those relationships and those families and bonds that I created, man, you don't get anything like it. And we still, to this day, still talk with everybody. When there's a wedding from one of the teammates, oh my gosh, that weekend, that's awesome. And those are bonds that not necessarily that I would run into on an everyday basis.
Not a chance.
No. So yeah, I love that goal, man. What programs or studies does Sienna offer revolving around esports?
So this is the thing. And this is another reason why I was so adamant about applying is that they don't.
Okay.
So like they have cybersecurity. That is like,
that's a big one.
That's the closest thing to it.
Okay.
But for like a big thing, so marketing is one that we have that we carry, but we don't have it to where we're able to market towards like the esports realm,
right.
Right. So like shoutcasting or broadcasting or all these other avenues that esports are able to intermingle with, like we don't have those yet.
Do you have a sports psychology?
So we have sport management, but we don't have the sports psychology piece.
Right.
But that's another one,
there's just so many that fall under the umbrella that, I mean, I'm sure you can pick and piece classes together, but I'm sure your goal is to get some of these classes or some of these aspects to esports. Right. Exactly.
Yeah, man, because then and I don't want to necessarily say it puts kids in a box, but a lot of times when kids see the name, when they see the word esports, they automatically jump into it without knowing what it entails collectively, right?
Correct. So, exactly.
Like marketing, you could obviously get into the esports realm having a marketing degree.
Exactly.
But those classes that you get for marketing, none of them are going to be pinpointed towards the space of esports.
Right.
So even if we have having a minor in esports marketing or whatever, esports business, whatever the case, like that's giving you a leg up on many people.
Just having an esports class in general can change that aspect of marketing or can change that aspect of communication or whatever it is. Public speaking. I know when I talked to Matrim which will be a podcast that is going to be available. He is a world-class caster for esports, but his degrees are in public speaking and I believe graphic design. But the thing was, like, a lot of it was public speaking, but he had no aspiration of becoming a caster. It's just people kept pointing out, hey, you kind of have a voice for casting, man. And he's like, but then when he realized, I have this degree in public speaking, I have a background in debate, I actually do talk a lot. Like, and maybe I should try this. Yeah. So it's not necessarily, they don't have to be esport labeled. You can still take public speaking classes or marketing or graphic design or some sort, like you said, cybersecurity. You can take those backgrounds and take those classes and still have backgrounds in these esport programs. They don't necessarily have to be labeled esport programs. You know what I'm saying?
100%.
So perfect. Do you think? Skipped a question. You have a good number of young student athletes on the roster. I went through the roster, man. I think I saw one senior. I mean, there's a lot of kids.
Did you go on the website?
Yeah.
Yeah, ignore that junk. Right. I'm telling you, man, I'll tell everybody this. Like, there's a lot of stuff that's going to change. It's going to be different about the program.
Right.
Just from top to bottom, because the way I run things, right? So that all that's going to be changed. But for the roster itself, we're sitting at about 28 right now with the 2 that we have incoming.
Okay. So now the question after that is, how many are you looking to carry, and can anyone join up?
Yeah.
Okay.
So that 28 number is actually going to change. This last month, I've been hitting it pretty hard, and I'll probably get 2 or 3 more.
Nice.
Before the school year starts to kind of help our recruiting number. But for me, and this is like grand scheme of it all, 3 years down the road, I think 40 is a number that I could carry.
Right.
And 40 is like, and that's like me saying, if it's a bad year recruiting wise, like UC Irvine and Boise State with Doc, they're just taking all the good players or whatever. Like, I think 40 is the number that we could do and sustain at a high level.
Right.
And like I said, in the grand scheme, like 3 years down the road, like you can't see the lab necessarily now, but the plan is to expand where we are in Dominican Hall. And I want to do it, honestly, I want to take the whole floor.
Yeah, dude. That's a goal right there, dude.
Yeah, so we share the 3rd floor in Dominican Hall and DH with the IT department. So they have like a part of the 3rd floor, and then we have the other side.
Mm-hmm.
Not to be mean, I want to kick them out. Like, that's how successful I want us to be.
Yeah.
And, God willing, that's how many kids I want us to have.
Yeah.
Because like you kind of asked about it. Like, I want to be able to take those kids.
Yeah.
Like any kid.
Dude. I understand that. I hear that 100%, dude. You want to be able to get any kid that wants to be part of it in there. And how do you do that? You get a successful program, grow, and boot those other classrooms out, even though you feel bad about it. But guess what? You need the space, man.
Hey, and I tell you what, and if we get the kids like that, because again, universities are a business. If we get the kids that type of number every year,
it'll pay for
that's
itself.
Money going back to the university.
Exactly.
Which means that's money you can build. You build them a new IT center,
yep.
or you build us our own space.
Yeah,
no problem. Like no harm, no foul type of thing. So it's doable. I think we just got to get the right people on the same trajectory that I'm on.
Right.
And I think they're there. They just don't know the space as well yet. So this first year will be real telling.
Right.
To see, how far we can really take it type of thing.
I hear that. So next question, kind of your background in coaching. Do you think your background in coaching and traditional athletics gives you a step up on the competition? To be honest with you, you're actually, if I'm not mistaken, thinking back through all my guests so far, you're actually the first coach that I've had that has a background in coaching. So do you think that gives you a step up?
100%.
Yeah.
100%. And the reason why, and I was talking to a parent. I actually had a Zoom call with a parent and a kid yesterday out of California.
Mm-hmm.
And I was kind of letting her know, because she had asked a similar question. She was like, well, how did you get into esports? And I was telling her, like, I've been coaching football for the past 5 years.
Right.
So I understand the dynamic of living as a student athlete and what it entails and the work you put in.
Right.
And same thing I told her, dude, in all honesty, as crazy as it sounds, esports is the exact same thing as playing football or basketball.
Exactly.
The only difference, and this is not to knock any college or pro athlete that is in a traditional sport. The only difference is I won't have to worry about Johnny or Casey getting knocked out and having a concussion.
That's exactly.
I don't have to worry about.
You know, if they get a concussion, it's because they tripped and hit their head or something. You know, it's not because you got hit on the field. Right. But with the other thing that people don't realize, and I talked at length with with somebody earlier, is it is mentally draining. Esports is mentally draining.
Dude, because that is the big thing.
You're practicing for hours on end. You have to think about schemes and how you might attack a situation if you're playing a shooter or, you know, like in Smash that we're watching right now that I have at the bottom of the screen. You have to think 2-3 steps ahead of your competition, which is 100%. Not easy because they're doing the same thing. So, like, there's different aspects to it, and it is mentally draining, not to mention just fatiguing in general. And people don't understand that with esports. And it is mentally exhausting, and it can be physically draining. Like it can, and as you mentioned, you're practicing for hours on end. Those hours that you practice in your lab or in your space, those aren't the hours that you spend by yourself in your room. Those aren't added to those hours. No,
like we're just talking about hours in the space for your actual team.
Yeah,
you gotta take into account the hours that these kids will play by themselves, like after class, after practice, in the middle of the night. They're up at 3 a.m. Trying to get their rewards before the season closes in 8 hours or whatever the case. Like that is a mentally draining thing.
Yeah, grinding's not easy.
Grinding's not easy, dude. And like you said, and we talked about it. Like that's how players get burnt out.
Yep.
Because they're not pacing themselves. They're trying to do the next best thing, and they're not setting goals for themselves. They're just trying to make it. Which is fine and dandy. But if you don't do it in steps, you'll never make it because you're burning yourself out just trying to get one goal as opposed to having 5 steps to get to the goal.
100%. And I mean, you see it in traditional sports too. I had a lot of friends that didn't quite make it all the way through varsity sports in high school just because they were drained. They were burnt out of it. They lost the passion for it, you know? But that was because they were going so hard in the paint just to be better than their next guy. And
man.
It's tough, man. It's not easy.
So you're doing AAU ball all summer, and then you come to school for the school year. Now you got fall practices. You got your season in the winter time. Then you got AAU after the season's over.
And you know, that's one thing I was never told in high school was just the extra added seasons. So like when I got to college, we had fall ball for baseball, and I was like, what the hell is this? Like,
what is fall ball?
What is fall ball? I don't know what this is. I'm supposed to be like prepping for hockey right now. And then you go through hockey, and I was working out twice a day year round because I had to do stuff for baseball, and then I had to do stuff for hockey. And then granted, whichever practice is going is where you basically were paying attention. And that, like, I was like, man, this is a whole different world when you get up here.
This is new.
It is your first year as director and coach at Siena. What are your goals and what are you looking to do as a program? We kind of hit on this earlier, but with just your first year in general, we talked about you're looking to build it up and kind of set essentially some ground rules, if you will, the foundation of the future of Siena program. But is there anything in particular with kids or programs or games in general that you want to do that we didn't hit on earlier?
Yeah. So we kind of mentioned, I mentioned having a list. So I have, and I did it 3 weeks ago. Actually, I sat down for about 10, 15 minutes and I wrote myself a list of 10 goals. So, and I'll do it every year, but I have a list of 10 goals that I have for Siena this first year. And I'll read it. I mean, we got time, so I'll read it.
Yeah, go for it.
So the first one I have is just to complete our NACE fall split. So we're competing in NACE this year. We were in the ECAC last year, which, I'm not knocking it. It's a good conference. The competition level isn't as high.
Right.
With some of the teams, like Northwood is in NACE. Northwood isn't they're not in the ECAC. Akron's in NACE. They're not in the ECAC.
Got you.
Those are to be honest, those are the big names. Those are the big dogs.
Yeah.
Like Northwood, they won.
Big dog.
Yeah, they won Overwatch and Rocket League last year. Like that's the team that we want to compete against. Like,
and to be honest with you, you only get better playing the best competition.
Thank you. Right. Yeah. I can't gauge what we need to improve on or where we're struggling or how far we've come if I'm playing teams that won't be in the big tourneys or won't be getting the big time exposure or the big time players.
Right.
So we got to take our lumps as the little brother right now, which is fine. Because I think personally, and kids, I think the problem is kids don't understand this when I say it, but parents and people like our age, they get it. it's not so much the destination that is super important. It's the journey to get to the destination that is important.
100%.
So like, again, there's like, we're going to scrim Northwood here in a couple weeks.
Yeah.
We're going to get smacked by Northwood in a couple weeks. Like Cody, like I know it. Cody knows it. Like, that's like, it is okay to understand and know that right now because we're not there yet.
Right.
But that doesn't mean you should be afraid and just unwilling to do it. Like, it's not how you get better.
And there's certain goals with that too. So when you go into that scrim, you're thinking, all right, let's start off with, scoring first or scoring a few goals, and then maybe take a game. And as you progress and you learn and you get some kids in, it's like, all right, let's take a split. Let's win a game or two and let's win the whole thing. Like that's as you build and you learn that process. Exactly, 100% agree.
Exactly, man. So that was the first one, and that like I said, that's a seemingly easy goal, but that first goal goes in hand with the second goal, which is having that 3.2 team semester GPA.
Correct.
So, and for me in particular, and I told all my players, if at any point in time one of our players hit underneath that 3.0 threshold or 3.2 threshold, they're suspended.
Yep.
Like, so that means if we don't have a sub, that team's just not going to compete that week. It's no good, right? Like you're not getting exposure now. So now you have a team of 2 or a team of 5 or a team of 6. You got your teammates looking at you because you're the one that dropped the ball. Correct. Now everybody has to be held accountable into that standard.
And that's where the team aspect comes in. You don't let your team down, And a lot of kids actually take that to the bank. When it's just them, they're like, I don't care. But when it's other people involved, exactly. That's another set of responsibilities. Yeah,
man. So, the academics is super important because like I mentioned, you're a student athlete.
Yep.
So you got to be on point with the books and academics. Third one I had, and this was something that I got from the high school level because that's how we built the brand at Elkhart High, which was holding like virtual or LAN events every year.
Nice.
So for us, like for me, and this is something I told Sue and the other committee members here when I got here at Siena Heights. So Siena has a Twitter account.
Right.
Elkhart High Elite has a Twitter account. Elkhart High has more followers and has sent out 3 times as many tweets.
Yeah.
Siena Heights Esports has. Like that's telling for me for the simple fact that all these kids that we're looking at and that we're trying to get involved with, they care about social media.
Yeah.
That's their footprint is that. They're not sending letters in the mail or emails.
No, exactly.
They're on Twitter, TikTok, they're on those fast right now type of formats and places.
Everything that's on their brain goes there.
It's right there. It's right there. Like it's on this right here.
Yep.
So I can't interact with them and connect to them on there. We're dead in the water. And I'm just going to have to give up this year and let Cody take every single kid on Twitter.
Correct. To be honest with you, and I mean, that's a big recruiting tool. People don't realize that it's not the way of old. Like these kids see YouTube, Twitch, Twitter, TikTok first before they see anything else. Right. And their timelines revolve around it. So, I mean, 100% again. Yeah, I agree. It's essentially like growing a brand. It's just faster paced.
Yes, 100% it is. 100%. And that's something that I think has to be fleshed out so people can understand that, because a lot of people don't get that mindset of it. Yep. They're just like, well, it's a program. You should be fine. You'll just get people.
Yep. It doesn't work that way.
It doesn't work. If it worked like that, then you'd never see a Walmart commercial on TV.
Ever.
They would just know.
Yeah, there'd be no commercials of anything.
Well, no, TV wouldn't exist because you just know everything that happens.
Yeah, like, nobody would be getting paid in the TV business at all.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. Right? Perfect. And so the next one I had, was completing our NACE split in the spring. So in the spring, they do the same thing. The only difference in NACE in the spring is that League of Legends takes place in the spring. It doesn't take place in the fall.
Okay. So different seasons for different games.
Yeah. So Overwatch and Rocket League, those will be both seasons because they're like big games.
Right.
League of Legends, it's a grind. Like that game is a grind,
yep.
dude. So doing it for one season makes it a little easier. And NACE did this whole partnership with the Star League and everything. So that's a big deal for them. So they only wanted to make it in the spring instead.
Right.
Completely fine. Number 5 I had was just finish the WAC, the conference that we're in, just finish top 4.
Nice.
So we have 7 schools right now that are in esports in the WAC. So you obviously have like Aquinas, Lords. Those two teams will be at the top because their Overwatch team at Lords is amazing. The Rocket League team Aquinas is great. But there's no reason why, if the blueprint fits the way I have it set up, that we don't hit that top 4 spot.
Right.
And that's an accomplishment, I think, because in theory,
it really is.
In theory, you would assume you got a Siena Heights program that just hired a new director in July, has no idea who his players are, has no idea what they look like or how they can compete, and then hit top 4. I would take that if I wasn't a coach. Like, I would take it.
Yeah.
So I don't think it's unrealistic. I think a lot of it just depends on how willing the players are to buy into the system.
Right.
And that piggybacking off that, like I said, today I had 2 players come in today that I met for the first time. Never seen them before. Out of the 28 players that I have, I've met 4 of them. So when they get here on campus, like, their first time meeting me in person will be when school starts.
Right. Got you.
So that's a lot for me to ask these young adults that are 18, 19, 21, 20 years old. Hey, I need you to buy in what I'm doing. I just need you to buy in and trust me and understand that some of the stuff I have you do is going to suck and you're not going to like it.
Right.
In the grand scheme of it, though, like, I made a promise, or I will make a promise to the recruits that I have, to their parents. Hey, they're here with me for 4 years. I'll be uncle for 4 years.
Right.
I'll be fan. I'll make sure they're taken care of.
Yeah.
They might complain and boo-hoo about some stuff, but it's all to make them better in the end.
Right. Exactly.
So, I think that's important to kind of understand. And we talked about it, with the education piece. It's different, but it's the same.
Yeah.
In that realm,
So, yep. 100%.
Number 6 was the same thing. So the GPA in the fall wanted to be the same in the spring. So making, like I said, one goal in general, but we're splitting it to where they can see it and
both
understand
sides.
It's tangible.
Right.
Number 7, I had, and this is so the number recruiting wise for a lot of colleges is the number 13, right?
Okay.
So that's like their number, or 15 is at some point is the number. So mine is 13. So I'm looking to get 13 recruits for this following year. As of now, I can probably say I probably got 5.
That boy.
That I know that will come. So I feel like I'm ahead of the curve a little bit because it's August.
Yeah.
So if I can get 13, man, I'll take it. If I get 20,
I take that too.
We're gonna have to talk about a contract extension. You feel
me? Sign them up now.
Sign them up. Number 8 for me, and this one is super important. Like, I have it as number 8, but it's not. These aren't numbered as far as priority, but this is one that is super important for me. And that's getting 2 female commits. So
okay.
I think something that is lacking, or not that I don't think, I know, based off of everything that's going on with Blizzard and just in general, the whole thing that happened with Riot Games a couple years ago, and just in the gaming community itself, and you can attest to it because you're in it as well.
Right.
Like, the female demographic is underrepresented, but it's there. And it's all, I would say it's pretty similar as far as number wise, if not more so than it is the male, the male demographic of it. Because
right.
Let's play games just as much, dude. And a lot of times, some of these female gamers are just as good, if not better.
Oh yeah.
But it's a toxic environment, dude. Overwatch is a toxic environment. League of Legends is a toxic environment.
But the best thing about esports that I don't think people realize is it's not split up male and female.
It's not split up. Exactly.
You're working together. And to be honest with you, as a mindset, as a young man or a young female working together, that just puts you above so many other hurdles, and not to mention you're interacting with them on a daily basis. And it's just simply friends playing video games, but you also not saying, all right, you can't do this. No, everybody can do it. And that's everybody. I love that. I love that about esports and video games in general. It doesn't matter who you are, doesn't matter what background, it doesn't matter anything, you're playing together.
For sure, man. It makes it fun, and it makes it intriguing, and it makes me hopeful as a parent.
Oh yeah, it makes you hopeful as a human being.
As a human being, even better. Yeah, exactly. Because like, I have a son who's older, but I also have a daughter, and not to make it. I don't want to make it a race thing, but at the end of the day, it is. Mm-hmm. My daughter's Black, and she's a female.
Yeah,
she's going to struggle enough as it is in this world. I don't need barriers unbeknownst to her that make it even worse.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
100%, dude.
So like being able to see that in the esports realm, like you said, gives me hope as a human being.
Yeah.
That can translate into the actual society that we live in.
Yep.
Number 9 is to hold another a LAN in the spring, a virtual or in-person LAN in the spring. And then number 10 was plain and simple, man, to make each student athlete that I have a better person.
That boy.
And that one was last because for me, that's the most important one. Because at the end of the day, and we've talked about it, like they are here for 4 years to get a degree, to play video games and to be successful. But what do we teach them in between those 4 years that make them better after they leave? Because at the end of the day, like when I'm old and gray, when you're old and gray, these kids that I'm interacting with and that we're interacting with on a daily basis, these will be the ones that lead us in the future, whatever comes to pass.
Right.
So I can't have that on my conscience to say I didn't do enough.
Right. 100%.
Or I neglected this kid or this group because I didn't feel like I had to do my part.
Right.
So,
and I mean, that's essentially what, it's everything that you're doing as a human being to even me doing this podcast. All we're trying to do is create better human beings. You know what I'm saying? Like it's essentially what it breaks down to. In the time that, and any person that I interact with, even if they're a troll, toxic person, I'm not going to leave that situation that way. I'm going to better, in some way, shape, or form, better the situation. You know what I'm saying? Because down the road, as you mentioned, when we're older, how did I interact with that situation? And maybe that person took that and was like, hey, he actually made the situation better. I'm going to pass that along. You know what I'm saying? Like we are literally teaching these kids everything from us. So why not teach them something to better everything? And that's 100%, dude. At the end of the day, that is exactly what we want to do with this situation. Yeah, you're learning life. You're going on your own. You're getting a job. Maybe it's in esports. Maybe it's not in esports. But you have a degree to fall back on, and you have better just overall awareness for life.
100%.
100%, man. So I got one more question for you before we get into the fun games here. But what do you tell a recruit or person who is looking to come to Siena for esports? Like I know we talked about you talking to some of the parents and kids. But what do you tell that person who's looking to come to Siena?
So for me, and the biggest thing I kind of hinted towards it earlier, Siena Heights it's not Ann Arbor. Right.
It's not Michigan. No.
Yeah, it's not, so you're not going to be 40,000 other students walking around campus.
Nope.
I have 1,700 students walking around campus. And those other 1,700 students, you're going to find who they are. You're going to find out what makes them tick, what they like, what they dislike.
Correct.
Have a sense of community there, which is important, which again makes you a better individual and a human because now you see how people work and how they interact.
Correct.
How they tick. That's something that you won't see that. I don't think you would see that at the same scale at Ann Arbor or in Ohio State or UC Irvine because of the amount of people that are there. Everybody's hustling and bustling. They're going 100 miles an hour.
Yeah.
They're doing their thing and they're trying to get done.
I agree 100%. My college was only 700 people. So, I mean, there was 700 kids there. And don't get me wrong, I love big schools. Like my college, I had aspirations of going to Michigan. Like that was my dream school. I have a Michigan flag hanging behind my monitor here. Like that's where I wanted to go. Like maize and blue until I die. But the thing was like, I'm not that big class. Like you can't put me in a room with a professor and 200 kids. That's not going to fly. Like my brain can't pay attention. I need 5 to 15 kids in a class, maybe at most. So I'm not wandering, looking at everything. I'm paying attention. So if, for kids, a lot of kids like those smaller schools and class sizes. Like and to be honest with you, I learned more that way because the professor, you could have interaction with every kid, and it's not like, hey, I need to talk to you, schedule it 4 weeks away. No, that's not going to work. You know what I'm saying? So I agree 100% with a smaller school. You get a much different but better aspect, in my personal opinion, to not just a community, but how everything ticks and how people tick. And you meet more people that way too.
Of course, you're 100%. You will. 100%.
You're not getting lost in a crowd. You're not just another face. You're not just a human being in a city, if you will, because that's 40,000 people. That's a lot of people, man.
That's like you said. That's another city. That's a city within a city. Like, you're not like No shot.
No, not at all. So,
and then obviously with that, the other piece is I can just tell parents, hey, I'm gonna give you more money than most other people can give you. So,
hey, there you go. I mean, you guys are private, right?
the parents like that part.
And you're private.
And we're private, so we can get away with some things that public universities can't as far as like aid, like academic aid and athletic scholarships. Because we're NAIA, we can give athletic scholarships.
Right, exactly.
Like we talked about it, like me and you talked about it the other day. Like there's a lot of schools that can't. They have to put that in as like merit aid.
Right, exactly. For me,
and they have levels to it.
Yeah, for me, I could not get any scholarships for sports because in Division III, for some odd reason, you cannot give scholarships for athletics, which I was like,
right.
It just hurts the lower tier sports in general. But if you're the right school, say like Adrian, I know for a fact, they get around that. You give all the scholarships around academics rather than sports. So yeah,
for sure.
I hear that. So yeah, you have the perks of a smaller school, and you have the perks of one having a coach and the background of a coach and a director that knows what he's doing. So Sienna, watch out. He's going to put you on the map.
There we go.
Hey, watch out. I can't wait for the day when you put Cody below you and be like, hey, what up, man? It's going to happen, bro.
Hey, for now, I'm banking on FIFA. We got him in FIFA right now.
FIFA, baby. FIFA.
We might get him in Madden, too. I don't know yet. I got a guy here that I think
that a boy. I got you. I think you got them. All right, so we got some fun games here to play. We're done with the questions for now, but we got some fun games everybody loves to listen to. And first game we call What's Your Setup? Obviously, you said you got a gaming PC, so we're gonna ask you what you rock. Right. And I know for me, it's a lot of Logitech gear. I was sponsored by Logitech when I was in Fortnite. My PCs are behind me. I have a stream PC, gaming PC. They're a little bit pieced together.
This guy. You can't just throw that in there nonchalant. Oh, back in the day, I was
back in the day.
All my stuff.
Listen, when the game first came out, it was easy, but then after about 8 seasons, everybody and their mom was on board. If you play any games, so you said you have PC, but what do you main, PC or console?
Okay, so check me. So I main PC. I literally have all the consoles under the TV. I just don't use them.
Right, exactly. Me too. They all sitting in the back there. I have my Xbox here. It's just sitting there.
And I don't know why, but for some dumb reason, I told myself I wanted to get a PS5 really bad.
Yeah, a lot of kids do.
Yeah, and I did not. Thankfully, I ended up buying like a computer part instead.
That boy. That boy.
Yeah, there's no point. There's no point.
There's no point. And to be honest with you, I bought one just because a lot of my friends only have consoles. And I wanted MLB The Show, and I can't play MLB The Show on PC.
There we go.
And I could play it on Xbox this year, and I was like, oh, sweet, I'm getting that. But I'm a frames guy. I have to have more frames.
You gotta have frames.
And the PC gives you the frames, dude. And don't get me wrong, consoles are getting there, but it's not the same. Like 240 frames, there's no different, man. I'm like, it's the best. So if you're on PC, what are the specs of your PC? What are you rocking right now on your PC?
Yeah. So I need to build a new one, and I have it on my list of 5,000 things I need to do in my life. Yeah, it's just, again, like I said, like we said, like this is an expensive hobby.
Yeah,
and I get my funds right, man.
So, I hear you, dude. I hear you.
So the what I'm rocking right now, the one I built probably about 2 years ago. I've upgraded it a little bit, but a lot of it is like Ryzen stuff.
Yep.
So I have a Ryzen
AMD.
So Ryzen 5, 36, I think. It's 36.
Yeah, it's a good chip.
Yeah. Then I have a 2060 Super in there.
That boy.
Rocking about 32 gigs of RAM, which I don't need.
Yeah, to be honest, I have 64, but I was like, I don't even need 32, but I got the option. I might as well do it.
Yeah, it's literally just say you have it, which is nice. All right.
Exactly.
Yeah, and then rocking with the SSD, I think 500 gigs.
That boy.
And then like a 700 power supply.
Yep.
Ain't nothing crazy, man. We on a budget.
But that ain't nothing to turn your head at either, though, man. That's a gaming machine.
I can play whatever I want.
Yeah, you can, and you can get the frames.
Yeah, I'm not worried about dropping nothing. We good.
Yeah, you're good.
In my head, I would love to. I want to build one more that just
blows everything out of the water. Yeah. Every PC gamer wants to do that. Trust me.
Just one. Yeah,
just one. What mouse you rocking?
I'm actually messing with Logitech, man. So I was rocking the 502 Hero.
Oh, okay. Yep.
Yeah.
That's what I have right now. I have the 502 wireless Lightspeed. I love that. I love the
It's
thumb
nice.
button. I love the
They're
thumb button.
nice.
Yeah.
Yo, you got to have the thumb button.
Yeah, you got to have the thumb button.
They're nice, man. They're smooth. I've had a player or two tell me that's what they want. They're nice.
Yeah.
They do really well. They last a long time.
And the thing is, like, wireless back in the day, a few years ago, you wouldn't think about getting wireless because it was laggy. But now with the Lightspeed technology in these Logitechs and pretty much any mouse that you buy, they are right there, man. I mean, there's no lag. It's just so good.
Yeah. Definitely change. Definitely a change of pace.
What keyboard you rocking?
I'm just rocking a standard Steel Series, man.
That a boy. Steel Series is good. I like Steel Series.
Yeah, it does a job. I had it for a little bit. It has some blue RGB underneath it that kind of lights up when I keystroke. It's nothing crazy, but at the time, the one that I had built, it fit perfectly with what I was trying to do.
That boy. I like it.
I've had it for a little bit, but it's done me well. So.
That boy. What monitor are you using?
I'm actually using an Asus. What is it? What's the model? It's a good question. I can't remember the model. I know we have them in our lab. That's 240 hertz G-Sync enabled.
Yeah, I think it's Asus. Is it Predator? Asus Predator or Apex or something like that? Something.
Yeah,
I can't
Predator.
remember. Yeah, those are nice. 240. You ain't gonna have no issues with that. Yeah.
Nah.
Any more gaming monitors? Like back when I bought mine, I have a BenQ that's a 240, but this is like the standard CS:GO monitor, and this is what everybody used back in the LAN days. And nowadays, like they're all 240 for the most part. If you're getting a gaming monitor, they have a 240 option. Like I think now they're making like 360 options. I was like, 360 hertz? I don't even know if I can get 360 frames. Like,
I had a player the other day mention it, and I'm like, why would you even get that?
Like I think the eyeball only goes to 300 anyway, or like you can only concept at 300.
You're not gonna catch all that.
No, not at all. All right, that's your setup. I like it. I'm not gonna lie, it's a gaming PC, brother. It's rocking.
Take it.
It's
well,
rocking.
So real quick before we kind of got into the whole Siena Heights thing, I was teetering back into the streaming mode that I had.
Yeah.
And then Siena Heights called me, so I have not streamed since. But I was getting into it, man. We were making some stuff shake in the teacher's lounge. You know what I'm saying?
So what was your main stream game though?
So initially, when I first started, it was League of Legends.
Okay.
But then when I revamped and like rebranded everything I was doing, we did a lot of indie game stuff. So
okay, yeah, I got you.
Like Black Sad.
Yep.
What else? We did the Tenants. I don't know if you've ever seen the Tenants. It's a weird game, but I enjoy the Tenant.
Yeah, I don't know if I've heard of it, but I don't know if I played it.
It's like The Sims.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Sims, but you're like a landlord and you like create apartment complexes. It was like a weird game, but I enjoyed it, man.
Well, the thing was like I jumped in a stream yesterday and I saw it. I was like, what the hell are they doing? They were playing power washing simulator. You literally were simulating power washing. And then Xbox the other day tweeted out mowing simulator.
Yes.
I was like,
but that's hot. Mowing simulator is hot right now.
It is. Like these simulator games are so dumb at concept, but they're so hot.
I'm like but the kids that are playing that like mowing simulator, they won't go outside to cut their grass.
That's true though. I mean, I don't even like doing it, but I should go do it. But I'll do it on my PC. You know why? Because I'm in an AC room right now. I'm not going to risk getting sunburnt.
No shot, man.
I'm not dumb. All right, so we got another fun game. This is always a blast. 10 rapid fire questions. I started off saying 10 rapid fire questions in a minute, but it never takes a minute because everybody has to justify their answers every time. But
I bet I don't. Unless you tell me I have to, I won't.
No, you don't have to if you don't want to. But I will say none of these questions will ruin our friendship, I promise. But they're a lot of fun. And you have not seen these questions, so these are off the top of your head. Just what you come to first. All right. So number one, favorite platform / console?
Xbox.
All right, that boy. I like it because I'm an Xbox boy, man.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Favorite game of all time?
Ooh.
It's a tough one. That a boy. Like I'm a GoldenEye kid. Like we would just go to somebody's house and have random sleepovers and play that thing for 24 hours.
Yeah. No internet needed.
No.
Just 4 different spots in one big screen. Yep. I got you.
If we would play proxies only or like golden gun only, and we make up stupid tournament rules. It was so much fun.
So much fun.
And then nobody could be Odd Job, the little guy, because nobody could
The
actually
little
shoot him. Yeah. All these kids listening to this podcast right now. What are you talking about?
Odd Job was a hitter, man.
Dude, that was terrible. Go-to snack during a session or when you're out doing whatever.
Lifesaver gummies.
Oh, okay. That's a first, but I like them. I forgot about them. They are fire. Favorite TV show or movie?
Ooh. Favorite TV show? Castle.
Castle?
Yeah.
I have not. I've heard of Castle. Newer? Older?
Huh?
Is it newer? Older?
Like 2011.
Okay.
Give or take. You ever seen A Rookie?
I don't think so.
Oh, that's a TV show. He's in it. I can't remember the dude's name, but he's in that.
The Rookie. Yeah. So that TV show was on ABC, I believe. And it was it's Nathan Fillion.
Yeah. That guy. He's the main character in Castle.
Okay.
It's dope. Dope.
I'll have to check it out. I do remember that name. I just haven't seen it. Favorite guilty pleasure. This is a new question. I'm throwing this one in here. Favorite guilty pleasure.
Cake.
Cake?
Yeah, bro.
What kind?
What kind?
Oh,
I like carrot cake.
Carrot cake, that boy.
I don't do it a lot, but every once in a while I slip up and I gotta get some cake.
Dude, carrot cake is fire though. It is low key fire. It is low key.
They be missing out. Kids be missing out.
The right
carrot and they're like,
the right carrot cake cannot be topped. I will say it right now. When it's moist and it's just perfect, carrot cake. Carrot cake.
Oh, people hate that word, man.
I don't know what it is, And I have to use it because I'm a weatherman, and I do it just to play with people's heads too. I'll say it. It's a little moist out there today. And then there's a streamer. I don't know if you've seen him. His name is Pestilli. He plays Escape from Tarkov. But that's his go-to thing. So when somebody like follows or subs, he has this alert that goes moist, and and that's his like go-to like motto. It's awesome. Just drives people up the walls.
Favorite. It's almost like I'm a cutie pie. Like he'd get a follow. Welcome to the big club. All right, thanks.
Favorite pro team of a traditional sport. Like I know you're from Indiana.
Oh, Arizona Cardinals.
You a Fitzgerald boy?
Hey, ride or die, baby. I hope he come back, but I think he's gonna ride off into the sunset.
You don't think he's got one more in him?
He said a couple years ago if he didn't come back, he wouldn't make it a big deal. He just kind of ride off.
Okay, I
hope he does, man. I hope he does.
Right. I mean,
they play at Chicago and at Detroit this year. So
don't get me started on this because last year we tied them. We tied the Arizona Cardinals. Like, come on, dude. We should have walked all over them. But Detroit plays to whatever level the team that they're playing is.
Y'all suck.
We do. We've sucked for 60 some odd years.
Y'all do. Well, no, I take that back. Y'all do now because y'all don't have Stafford.
I mean, we did when we had Stafford.
He didn't have anybody with him, bro.
Yeah, he did. We had Galladay, and we had
Galladay. You're not winning no chip with him and Golden Tate.
Oh, it didn't matter. Even when we had the best running back to ever play the game. We literally get the best players to ever play the game and make them retire early.
That's fair.
Megatron, Barry Sanders.
You're not wrong there.
And it's like some of the receivers back in the day, Herman Moore, Brett Perriman.
Yeah, man. Y'all had Nate Burleson when he was still smooth.
Yeah, we did. And guess what? We said bye.
Bye.
Bye, Felicia.
Okay.
So I changed this one out, but I'm going to leave it. Cat or dog guy?
Oh, I'm a cat guy, bro.
Really?
Yeah, so I was a dog guy until we got our last dog. Her name is Stella. If she ran away today, I would not go look for her. No shot, Bob. No shot, Bob. Now, our cat, Igor, that's the homie. I ride or die with him. If somebody try to get him, we scrap. I'm going to jail.
Man, I gotta start asking questions like, why is your name's pet or your pet's name's that? Why is it Igor?
Okay, so we got Igor from a pet shelter, so that was just his name.
Oh, okay, so he was Igor already.
I ain't changed it. I was like, well, he listens. So I was like, whatever, bro. Your name Igor.
I have Bowser and Koopa, obviously from Mario Brothers, so like a bass.
I like them. Are those dog names?
Yeah, Bowser is a Newfoundland, and then Koopa is a Basset Hound. So we have two different, like, way off the wall.
Yeah, they're not
breeds.
even close, bro.
No, it's funny because our Basset Hound runs the house. They're the same age. Bowser's actually older, our Newfoundland, but he'll get up on the counter and grab stuff and bring it down for our Basset Hound. Just sit there and watch her eat it. Yeah, dude. He's a minion. He literally is the nicest dog in the world. He's a minion.
That's crazy.
First car.
A 1998 Chevy Trailblazer green. Her name was Sally.
Oh, I like it. You name your vehicles. Me and my wife do that too, man. All right, so mine was the 1989 Ford Probe. Had the flip-up lights.
Oh, he was out there Mac Daddy.
Yeah, dude. I didn't even realize what I had. Drove it to the ground.
Didn't even know. Didn't even know.
It did not have a name at the time, but our names now. I have a Jeep. It's a Jeep Patriot. It's named Jeeves, and then she has a Toyota Prius named Talus. So there, we got names too. So there you go. Yeah, we go with the first letters in the names. All right, this one's kind of out in left field, so this one's gonna take a little brain power. You got this. All right. Would you rather be attacked by one horse-sized duck or 100 duck-sized horses?
I'd rather be attacked by the one horse-sized duck.
What? Bro, that's a big-ass duck.
You're right, but I can fight one duck. I don't want to fight 100 ducks.
You could climb a tree and get away from those.
Nah, that's why do I got to climb a tree? I could just get in my car and run over the foot of the one big duck.
I never thought about that. Yeah, if you take one foot out, man, yeah, that's true.
Yeah, those they got little legs. They got little legs.
Yeah, that's good thinking. I didn't think about that.
100? Nah, man. Them jokers are fat.
All right, last question, brother. Anywhere in the world, where are you going?
Japan.
Japan. Okay.
Yeah,
anywhere in particular in Japan?
Not so much. Not so much.
You got background there? You're just interested?
Oh man, I love the culture like that they bring to it. And like me, I'm a huge anime fan.
Oh, okay.
So, a lot of the stuff that they do is very spot. I just love what they do, what their process is. The landscape is beautiful. Like when they have their blossoms, like during their blossom
cherry blossoms, yeah.
Freaking looks gorgeous, dude. Like, I would love to just be a part of it. Their cuisine, I could probably spend a week or two just eating food there and be content. So,
yeah, I hear you.
Yeah, Japan, I think would be just a dope place. It's on my list. I got my little bucket list. It's on my list.
That boy, I like it. I mean, for me, if I had to move from Northern Michigan, I just like it here because I have 4 seasons and I like the 4 seasons. Cool. Fall is probably my favorite season, but Hawaii. Okay. Hawaii was stellar. Hawaii? Yeah, dude, it was stellar.
Man, they be having them tsunamis, man.
But the funny thing was, like, we went for my buddy's wedding. They got married, and they had a house on. It's a public beach, but the house was essentially right on the beach, which was great. We went in September, which is the hottest time of the year. It was 90 during the day, 75 at night, not too humid, and the water was 85 degrees, dude. I was in that ocean. You couldn't pull me out of there. It was great.
That's a comfortable.
Yeah.
That's a comfortable. Yeah.
Like up here, like, yeah, we're surrounded by lakes, but these lakes are 50, 60, 70 degrees, man. That's cold.
Yeah. You're going to get out and get hypothermia, like off the rip.
Exactly, man.
Not safe.
But brother, thank you so much for joining me on the One Up XP Show podcast. I really do appreciate it, Steve. Steven Robinson Jr., Coach Rob, Siena Heights University Saints Esports Director, Coach. Brother, thank you again. I appreciate it. We'll have you back on, of course, looking through the season. I can't wait to have you on when you beat Cody, and we can just rub it in his face. We can break down the entire the event that, and we'll say, and here, this is where we knocked it in to take the win.
Definitely. I review that one, 100%.
And those kids will get a little pat on the back. That boy.
I'm bribing somebody. Somebody's getting bribed.
But thank you again, brother. I do appreciate it. As always, I'll be in touch with you on Twitter. Guys, make sure you follow their socials. You can follow his social, which again is, hit me with that before I click off screen here. What is it? It's Sir Rex Rob at Sir Rex Rob. Yep. Hit him up there, but also you can follow Siena Heights Esports Twitter there at SHUE Sport. and they have a Twitch coming soon. So make sure you guys check them out. Hit up Rob. Check out Siena Heights if you want to do an up-and-coming esports program. Brother, I appreciate it again. Have you back on soon.
Hey, appreciate it, man. Talk later.